shit, I don't have that order. Hold on a second.
Wait one.
We're stuck. We're on the hook for a first 100,000.
All right. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, December 6, 2023, at 7:01 p.m. Roll call, please. Courtmaster.
Trustee Burbette?
Here.
Trustee Caveney? Trustee Crowley?
Here.
Trustee Hilly? Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Killily?
Here.
Mayor Lure?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? Seeing there's no public comment, I will close the floor to public comment. Move on to tonight's trustees' business. Trustee Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Burbette.
Mayor, I also have nothing tonight.
Thank you, sir. Who is handling Trustee Caveney's?
I will, sir.
All right, we'll move on to Trustee Killey then. Trustee Killey?
It doesn't matter.
I'm kidding.
Tax levy. We are proposing that we will raise the tax levy 4.99%. That is actually less than the CPI, and it is conformity with our self-imposed property tax cap ordinance. The actual amount that is paid on your tax bill next fall will depend on the multiplier, the EAV, and how many exemptions are out there that have to be accounted for. 4.99% means that as a whole, the Village of Midlothian will pay 4.99% more than what the levy was last year. Each individual result may vary, but it won't be as much as, I don't think it will be as much as what you've been reassessed. I don't think you should worry about that. If you have any questions, by all means, you can talk to the mayor or trustees, and we'll give as much information as we know.
Talk about the assessed value. Everyone got their new assessed value. And obviously, it was a massive increase on assessed value, but once again, I was assured by Fritz Kagi that that was just their way of trying to make the assessed value normal. I can't.
More reflective of the
Reflective
actual
market value.
It should not have a much of a impact on your actual tax bill
That's right.
based on the new assessment.
That's right. Trying to make it fair, equal, balanced, whatever you want to say. Okay. And for the insurance, risk insurance policy, Trustee Crowley and myself will chime in on that when she's ready. And that's all I have. Oh, no, that's not all I have. Actually, we do have a contract. The land bank does have South Suburban Land Bank does have a contract on 3831 West 147th. That is the old White Elephant building. The prospective buyer is a real estate investment company that is bought quite a few properties around the Chicago area and operates in many other states across the country. So they propose to rehab the building, make it ready for occupancy in conformity with the Village of Midlothian building codes. And we'll see how that actually all pans out. They want to close quickly. Hopefully, everything will be okay. And that's all I have.
All right, Trustee Crowley. Let the record reflect that Trustee Caveney is now here in person.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for being late.
Welcome back.
Good evening, welcome back. I'd like to first, I'd like to make a motion to carry over, this is for Trustee Hilly. He wasn't able to be here tonight, but he is asking that we make a motion to carry 6 unused vacation days over for Chief Hotwagner. So I would like to make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? He is actually gonna try to get some of that taken in December, but he just was not sure. He just wanted to make sure he was,
Yeah. He has this note here, he'll definitely have them used by his anniversary date, he said.
okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Moscow.
Trustee Crowley,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Burbat,
Aye.
Trustee Killily,
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, I'll go over mine, I'll leave Trustee Caveney since she's here, I'll give Trustee Caveney's back to her when I'm done. And the next thing on my agenda is the discussion of our workman's comp and our liability insurance, and I'll turn it over to Trustee Killily for the workman's comp portion, we've been working on it together.
Okay, so the workman's comp insurance, because we had a couple bad years, about 4 or 5 years ago, workman's comp insurance rate is pretty high. We were advised last year by our broker to self-insure part of the workman's comp claims. The first $100,000 of the workman's comp claim would be self-insured. Again, I talked to them, actually today, the vice president of the brokerage, of the insurance brokerage, and he advises that we should self-insure workman's comp for at least 3 years to get a result. Our result would be hopefully to get our workman's comp rate much lower, so we wouldn't pay so much premium on workman's comp. And also, we don't have any, we only have one insurance company, our present one, that will insure us right now. The other companies are not giving us quotes for insurance, in a large part because our workman's comp claims are so high. We've taken steps to try and lower our workman's comp claims by having safety committee meetings with the department heads every quarter. That's been going on for, I think, at least 3 quarters right now. And that will continue until we do actually see a substantial drop in our workman's comp claims. As it turns out, we, according to what I see in the report we were given by our insurance brokerage, we actually spent $58,827 more dollars on our premiums and paid claims than we would have if we took the fully insured premium, which we wouldn't have to spend any money on claims of $512,000. But again, we have to keep our eye on the ball. Our eye on the ball is to lower our workman's comp claims in relationship to the premium. And that will open up a lot of good things for us. So we went through this many years ago with ICRML, which was the insurance company sponsored by IML. And they were the only game in town too. The last, many years ago, the insurance quote we got for insurance before we were able to leave was almost $1 million. And we had no alternative. We don't want to be in that ballgame. We want to try to work on lowering these workman comp claims so we can get competitive quotes and have somewhere to go if something goes bad with our present insurance carrier. So we have to, again, we have to approve this for the next meeting. And does the board have any comment on that?
Don, I have a question. So since the safety committee was reinstituted, have you noticed that there are less workman's comps because the department heads and the employees are being more aware of how they work? Do you
Right,
think, I guess in
right.
other words, have these committee meetings helped reduce the number of potential injuries because people are thinking more about safety and how they?
We had three claims. I believe we had 3 claims this year. And it's hard to avoid these claims, it is. But in general, best practices for lifting things, anything from lifting to driving to, thinking about what you're doing before you do it. That's what they're really pounding in, and the department heads are definitely carrying that message through. This year, we had, in paid claims, we had $99,872 for us, and $185,000 worth of reserve claims. So it really wasn't still that great a year. I mean, it was better than the terrible years, but we still have to have some work to do to reduce it. In the years prior, 5 or 6, 7 years ago, we were running claims that were only maybe 50,000 a year. We have to get somewhere there. We have to do it consistently for 3 years before the insurance companies will raise their hand and say, yes, you're a good risk. Now we'll quote because we know where you are. We probably should not have discontinued our safety meetings. I don't know if that was the whole story, but we're working hard on this, and hopefully we'll see better results for next year. It's better than the terrible years, but it still has to go a little lower.
I think I would only add to that, trustee, that it's hard to quantify what didn't happen. It's hard to say what we stopped from happening by having safety committees. You can't tell how many accidents you avoided by doing this. We appear to have 3 claims, but, we could have had 10 had we not done certain things. And I think just bringing the awareness and having the department heads, and I want to thank Deputy Chief Tavermina, because, we started it as a board. We wanted it to begin again, and he really stepped up and has taken it on so that it can be done during the day when the department heads are here and when they can have the insurance carrier here and they can do walkthroughs and things like that. So, I think training in itself is valuable. I don't know how you quantify it, if how you tell what we avoided by doing it, but I think it's important, and I think it brings awareness, which no matter what is important.
And I think it's proactive.
Mhm.
So that's why I kind of raised it, that we're having it, and even though it's been less than a year, has there appeared to be improvement, even slight improvement, compared to doing nothing at all?
I think,
And in the end,
yeah.
in 3 years, is this going to be worth it? I think so.
It's
more a
Yeah,
philosophical
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So-
It
Based
doesn't-
on what Trustee Killey said, we've had some pretty bad years, and only having 3 claims now is.
Yeah, we've
got
had
to be
years
improved.
of 500,000.
Right.
So, and
Claims.
I would only also add to that is that, of that 58,000, that is with a reserve claim of 185,000. We don't know if we're gonna have to pay that. It could wind up being the opposite. We could wind up being on the plus side of it. So we're right in the, this is not what we've paid out. This is just worst case scenario, we would be at a $58,000 mark.
And again, there's some things that just are not avoidable.
Right.
Carrying a disabled resident out of their home.
Yes, absolutely.
Needs to get to the
Not-
hospital right away on a
That's right.
snowy day, and
That's right,
I mean, it's
not
just-
avoidable.
so.
Do you have anybody else, other questions? The second part of that we'll be touching on tonight, and we touched on at the Finance Committee, is the liability property side of it. So we have went back and forth with our broker, and we've adjusted a number of things, and we have been able to bring down our overall premium by $35,000 so far a year. So, I mean, that's huge. But we do have a few questions that's really gonna, we're all gonna have to make some decisions on, and a couple of them are regarding the properties that we currently own and how we wanna insure them. The first one we'll talk about is rate A. The insurance carrier rates it at a price that they've appraised it at, and I believe, my numbers might be off, but rate A's was right around $1 million in coverage with regards to if it was to burn down and we wanted to rebuild it. And the other one was, the gun range, which was at like $1.2 million. And the third one was, what was the third one? Historical Society, sorry, Ellen.
Sorry.
And that was rated at like $850,000 or $900,000 for replacement. Obviously, we all were a little shell-shocked by those numbers. Now, our insurance broker, believes that those numbers do not, whether it's, I'm gonna say $500,000 in replacement value or $1 million in replacement value, it doesn't change our premiums that much. I don't know that that's true or not true, but I think we should start having those conversations because, at very least, obviously, the gun range is a property we don't use anymore. It's been closed. It is inhabitable at this point, and no one will ever be able to go into it without substantial repairs, without a hazmat suit on. So,
If I can ask a question, is that property underground?
part of it.
Okay. Since it's pretty much mothballed, we're not using it, do we have to insure it for replacement value? Can we just put liability coverage on it?
That's what we're talking about doing. That was one of the things that I wanted to bring up. With something like the gun range, we could just require it to be liability insurance, yet we still don't know. I don't know if you guys remember the Metrolot conversation we had some time ago. The tax or the insurance discount that we get based on how much we insure it appears to be pennies. So you would think you're insuring this parking lot, you can quantify it by saying it's $1,000 a year, when in reality it's probably $30 or $40 because it's a global picture, not like your home where you're insuring one car and one home or two cars and two homes. But it brings up the question, there are a lot of documents that I don't know if the front office and the clerk's office and that have been down there for years, which are destroyed basically. I mean, they're infested with mold and things like that. I've asked Chief Delaney and Deputy Chief Tavermina to look into it, to find out how much it would cost us to get somebody to go down there to pull those boxes out so they could be properly destroyed and not just left there. But the reality is, I don't know if the clerk's office ever before had ever documented what was down there, and if we need to destroy orders on those.
We do have some records, but we'll have to compare with what's should be there.
And we don't know if you would even be able to tell what's there at this point. So again, we couldn't just walk down there. We would need to have somebody who specializes in mold remediation and has the proper equipment. And then my suggestion would be, I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that there were a number of, or a gun club that might be interested in purchasing it from us and putting the investment in to get it back up to speed. But that would be the next step. So if everybody is fine with that, Deputy Chief Tavermina and Chief Delaney will pursue getting somebody to get down there and get those documents out and destroy them. But if we need anything to be done with the front office documents or the clerks, whatever's down there, you guys would have to do those orders. And
You going in?
no,
Been in, it's bad. I haven't been down there in over a year though. Never been.
yeah, I mean, I don't want anybody.
If you're legit with a gun club, but I was gonna ask the board if they'd be okay with me just talking to the Village of Robbins and asking if they'd wanna take over. I'm looking at the map,
Right, it's just on the other side of the viaduct and it's right next to.
I mean, I don't know. I'm, if you think a gun club could rehab it,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a preference. I mean, I don't have a preference. I just want to get it off of our books so that we're not paying insurance on it. Like, that was really my only goal.
okay?
So that was my thought with the gun range, if everybody agrees. But with Ray Day and with the Historical Society, we do need to make a decision on if Ray Day, we want to just go down to liability and see if that affects the insurance premium. And, you know, in hopes that in the very near future, that will be somebody else's building to address
Based
as
on
well.
my conversation this week, I think liability is fine for now.
Okay, then we will have her make that adjustment. And what about the Historical Society?
Alan?
I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, I know you're
Yeah,
just
no,
talking
I-
about this the first time.
I would agree, because there's no way to value contents. Most of them are not replaceable, so.
So we don't need
It should
anything
be-
for contents, maybe a minimum 5,000
Some
for.
furnishings and things like that, but-
furnishings.
Right.
Yeah, the fixtures and improvements would be what you'd want to insure.
Well, there's some furniture in there, you know, they have chairs and tables. and
Well,
things
that's what I
like-
mean. Anything that's
Right.
There's-
furniture,
Display cases.
the work on
Yeah.
electrical or whatever, or windows or painting or things like that. Yet some things you're gonna.
I would say
I'm-
contents would be like $30,000, but it seems odd to me that there's claiming that the replacement value on that building is $800,000 when it was a house.
There's no way.
Yeah.
It
I
can't be
mean,
more than
If
400.
one of our houses burned
But
down.
it was appraised.
Yeah. What?
The
Not for
insurance company,
800,000.
the insurance company has a appraiser do the appraisals. They don't make this up. So that's how all these values are set.
So one of the problems that we have when we decide this, and it really only comes through for the Historical Society, is what we were informed by our insurance carrier is that if we opt to go to a lower value,
A stated value.
a lower stated value, that also drops our repairs to 80% of that stated value. So if the whole property, if the roof was to come off and the whole property was, you know, to need to be, it didn't reach the point of a total loss, it would drop what they spent on repairs as well. So, I mean, I think if we get the two down, we'll get a pretty good idea of where we're at and if it's gonna make any difference, and kind of go from there. You know, if we see another $35,000 drop by removing the high appraisals on the other two properties, then we know it's something to look forward to. But if the drop is minimal, then why, you know, then leave it the way it is for now.
If the contents are truly irreplaceable, how would we replace it?
I'm talking about the building,
The building.
not the contents.
Just the building.
But
You're correct.
the building serves no purpose without the contents, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
So if everything in that building got destroyed, what would we be replacing it with? We wouldn't be
Well-
replacing it.
We wouldn't be replacing the contents, but we would still need to repair the building.
No, we would probably destroy the building, because there'd be nothing to put in it when we were done, unless it was not a total loss.
Right, and then we would we would have to do something with it, whether it was demo,
Right.
whether it was
What I
repair,
mean is,
whatever.
We wouldn't be building an $800,000 building to house nothing. So we would just be cleaning up the site.
Well, I mean, I don't know what we would do with it at that point. I mean, if it,
There's no history to put back into it. All that would be gone.
well, I guess.
Well, if everybody cleaned out their basement, I'm sure everybody in town could bring
I
us
mean, I
back
don't
a
have
little
an,
piece
I
of
don't have an
history.
answer for you. I mean, I didn't give it
Yeah.
that much thought,
I-
Tony.
No
No,
one's
I'm
gonna
just-
come up with
Giving you a
Dorothy
point.
Leschko's wedding dress.
Like,
Right.
I guess my side of it is though, at
The
this
Davis
point, if
uniform.
it doesn't save us any money, why not?
But it-
What's the difference?
Ask yourself, if
Yeah.
it burned down and it was unsalvageable, what do you think we would do with that property?
We could
would
rebuild
probably
it and
just-
sell it.
We would probably just clear the property and sell it.
I mean, I guess it would
So
depend
what
on the
are some-
board and what they wanted to do with it.
So what are you saying?
So $800,000 insurance on that building is somewhat crazy.
It is, unless 800,000 versus 150,000 or 200,000 is the same price. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was saying, you know, if it doesn't change our premium and
It's only one way to find that.
There's only one way,
Which
that's
is why I
why,
think the insurance company's appraisals are a little out of whack, because just the building itself, forget about its current use. It used to be a home, well, it was a library, but before that, it was a house, converted, right? Or was it
School.
some-
School.
Oh, it was a school, okay, my apologies. I thought it was a house that had been converted.
It's a school.
So, you know, to replace that building, just the building itself, to me, would not be, I can't see it being $800,000.
We wouldn't replace it.
Next time, we should get our own appraiser
Yeah.
to do this. When it comes up again, we have to get it done. We
Don,
shouldn't-
can I ask a question sort of related to, didn't we, because we were gonna sell the property for rating, didn't we get an independent appraisal of? And
$330,000.
so,
Yeah, but
then we
per-
go to the insurance company going, you're saying 800,000, ours
No,
said
they're saying
300.
1.6.
no, so
1.1.
Kathy, the difference is that when you're talking about a sale of a property, it's what the current condition is in.
Okay.
When you're talking about rebuilding it, you're paying so much per square foot to rebuild,
Replacement.
replacement. So I mean, it's, you know,
But-
you can't compare it.
But again, kind of the same thing applies here. If that building burned to a crisp, we wouldn't rebuild it. We were basically trying to give it away. So, again,
Hopefully, we're gonna get
I
two
understand
separate
your
things.
point about if it doesn't really cost us much money to insure it, sure, we should
Yeah.
insure it. But
Right.
if there is a cost, we shouldn't be
Right,
covering
that's,
either one
that's why we're
for
bringing
anything
this
more
up
than
today.
liability and what it would cost us to remove the.
Right. And that's why we wanted to have this discussion, so everyone would kind of be on the same page.
Hopefully, we're gonna get two separate quotes on the historical, which would be, one would be the lower value and one would be no value, to see what's going on. And hopefully, they'll be separate enough so we can tell which is which. So we'll go from there. Hopefully, that will come through tomorrow and we can look at that.
Okay, next on my agenda is, I spoke to Attorney Valadez a little bit before the meeting. The Paid Leave for All Workers Act is going into effect on January 1st. I believe, based on reading what I've read, that we do have to pass an ordinance. Attorney Valadez has a copy of the draft ordinance, and he is going to complete it and get it to Deputy Clerk, I almost said it again, Deputy Clerk Harris, for next week's agenda. So if you could have that out there by Monday, Nick, so that everybody can take a look at it.
Take care of it.
What else do I have? And then the last two things are, I'd just like to remind everybody that our Toy Drive and Secret Santa are wrapping up this week. A huge thank you to all of our businesses and residents and friends and family who have donated. We did get our tentative list from the churches, and their numbers have increased a lot, so we're hoping to give a lot of children this year a smile. The Secret Santa portion of it, we did adopt families from each school that were referred to us by the school, and all children have been purchased, have had their gifts purchased already, and the families will be picking them up, or the police department will be dropping them off in the next few days. So thank you to everybody who adopted a child for that portion of the program, and thank you to everybody who shopped, and a huge thank you to the Community Policing and Safety Committee, who has been running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to make sure that they're staying on top of it. I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you very much. Last but not least, if you have not donated a toy and are still looking for an opportunity and would like to come out for the most exciting event of the year, in my opinion, please bring a toy to the new police department's grand opening on Friday. We will have the box available, and Chief Delaney has promised everybody personal tours throughout the entire station, especially the jail cells for some of us. I'm not saying who he said, but I'm just saying. And that's all I have this evening, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. No comment on the last. Look forward to seeing everyone out there on Friday. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be almost 60, so
Of course it is.
Anyways, let's move back to trustee Cavey, and welcome back from your
Thank you,
beautiful
Mayor.
vacation.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody who took care of some building department stuff for me while I was away. First item, the only thing I have on my agenda actually is with regards to the sprinkler waiver for 4444 147th Street. So I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the November 22nd approval of the agreement regarding the waiver of the sprinkler system and the conditional occupancy for 444 147th Street to correct the agenda exhibit of the agreement.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Attorney Valdez, do we need a third motion?
Well, I'm sorry, because trustee Cavney was not present when the original motion was made, another trustee will have to make that
The-
motion.
yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, perfect.
I'll second.
Really? She can't reconsider something that she didn't consider in the first place.
Really?
Correct.
Okay.
It has to be a trustee who was present and voted to reconsider.
Okay, so.
We have a first and a second.
Motion
Yep.
second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Burbette.
Aye.
Trustee Cavney.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. My next agenda item is to ask for a motion for approval of the agreement regarding the waiver of the sprinkler system and conditional occupancy for 4444 147th Street.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Landlords, the landlord has responsibility for the waiver of the sprinkler system and also the ventilation system?
The village is approving the waiver for the sprinkler system based on the conditions set forth by the fire, our.
Right.
Fire
Fire
department.
department.
Mike,
But we're-
Blanca,
But we're waiving
Fire
it
prevention.
just the sprinkler system.
for the owner of the building.
Correct.
Just the sprinkler system.
Right.
The ventilation system is.
Still has to go out
Oh,
through.
they still have to have the ventilation system and
They have to do
still
all the
have to-
fireproofing, they have to upgrade the fire alarm system.
Right, yeah.
That's part of the condition.
It's part of the conditions. They
Okay.
have to meet all of those conditions.
Right.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please, clerk Blanca.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Burbette.
Aye.
Trustee Cavney.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I would just note that I did have a conversation with the owner of the property the evening that the original motion passed with the incorrect exhibit, and he fully understood that the terms that you just passed. He understood that there's no such thing as a conditional special use or a conditional business license. He was very satisfied with the action.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Was there not a lot of sun out in your area?
I was very careful to
Big
be
hat?
sunscreened and in the shade.
Big hat?
hat, big sunglasses, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Skin cancer is no joke, and I don't mean to be flippant about it. Almost all my family has it.
Yeah, I had a bit of it myself.
Good
so
job.
Thank you.
All right, Attorney Valdez? Oh, yeah, Attorney Valdez.
The village closed on the 15207 Lawndale property today, and the net proceeds to the village after all the costs within the contract and the closing statement was $105,822. And the rest of my report will be the status on all the current litigation the village is facing in the closed session. That's it.
Okay. Get on to my business. First thing is the annual dues, local contribution for the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning for fiscal year 2024 at $669.93. Does anyone have a problem with me putting that on the consent agenda for approval next week? All right, a few other things. I've received a lot of correspondence about the intersection of 150th and Hamlin. The issue there is that there are only stop signs on 150th and not on Hamlin, which a lot of our intersections in town now are four-way stops. So I know there's a problem there. I've seen the fire calls for accidents there. The residents are very concerned about that intersection. Is there anyone on this board that has a problem with me talking to Superintendent Sperry about putting stop signs on Hamlin North and South?
No.
Good idea.
I will respond to the residents after I talk to Superintendent Sperry. I was, unfortunately, we forgot the microphone and speaker at the Village Green after the parade for the tree lighting. And as I tried to yell above everyone, my voice was getting harder and harder to get the words out. And I just apologize. I did not mention the beautification committee. Gene and Mike, the place just looks beautiful. It is just, it is picture perfect. It's, Mike, what you did with the soldiers, with 5-gallon buckets and
That arch.
planters and just unbelievable.
The arch.
The arch.
The arch,
Awesome.
the wreath, the photogenic wreath, and so thank you, and Mike, and all the beautification committee for everything you guys do. That really is a beautiful place to drive by. In the morning, it's still dark when I'm going to work, so it's a beautiful thing to look at, so, thank you. Lastly, just want everyone to be aware, Luminaria is donating 105 candle kits for Village Hall, Fire Station 1, Fire Station 2, and the new police station. I bring this up because I'm imploring everyone to get out and help with buying the candles from Luminaria. All the money goes to the local food pantries, and we've heard many times that the number of families that are in need keeps growing every year. And so please get out there. Sales start this weekend,
This weekend.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
I'm not sure of the time.
I think it's 4:30 on Saturday and 7
So 4:30
a.m.
and
Sunday, 7 to 1 Sunday.
7 to 1 on Sunday. So please get out there and buy some candles. Last year was not the best year for putting out candles, but we're hoping for a better Christmas Eve this year. It makes your property, it really does make the town look beautiful with all the candles. So I believe the family is also going to do the Village Green again this year, that has done it the last few years, so. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. And thank you, Marty Burke. I hope maybe you're not watching, but thank you for everything you do. That's all I have. Clerk Moscow.
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you. Then I guess I'm looking for a motion at this time to go to closed session.
I'll make a motion.
Hold on, I gotta read the statute. To discuss litigation for court.
I'll make,
Is that it?
You make a motion?
Oh,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are in closed session. There is no further. Okay. Thanks. Thank you all.